Just to add to what already Faris said, that very good point that there is no gay problem per se. It's always that there is a problem and some, and you're being gay add up to it. For example, in Ethiopia, the very difficult having a conversation with Ethiopians is that in Ethiopia they say there is for example, an issue of hunger. There is hungry, literally, people are starving, right? No one is doubting that there are hungry gay people. So it's not just people are hungry. The issue of gay rights always that you are hungry and some, and you being gay add up to another layers of complicated stigma and oppression and marginalization you have to deal with. There's an issue of education and some. So you being gay, for example, I know a kid in a very small town in the region of in Ethiopia that could not have access to education. I mean, he could not go to school because of the bullying, the constant bullying and beating and harassing he's facing. He could not go. He missed out so much that he was way behind his peers when it comes to education. Eventually, he has to leave school because he's not learning anything. He has to constantly worry when he's going to school, he's going to get beat up. When he's inside school, he's going to get beaten up or not. Not only by the students, by the way, even by the teachers. They will find a reason physically and emotionally harass him. So there is always there is no specific gay problem. There is a problem and some being you're being gay even make it much more worse. I mean, we can talk about the war in Ethiopia that's going on all around. There are gay people who are being murdered because of their ethnicity, and there is war waged among them. And their being gay is also an extra layers of discrimination they have to deal with. So that, for example, if I was in a small village where there is ethnic conflict, me being gay add an extra layers of security reasons, security concerns. So even people who are so-called quote unquote my ethnic group could be my enemy, could literally kill me, literally turn against. So that I have to worry about. That the ordinary people don't have to worry about. There is always a problem and some. Like being in Europe, the same thing he was talking about. There is homophobia in Europe and there is racism in Europe and some. You being gay and queer and being a black, that add up and create an extra layer of problem for a lot of. And the same, even I could be in Europe and even, I mean, forget about me. Even Faris, I mean, so brave. I mean, he still receives a lot of bullying from Ethiopians in Ethiopia through online. That had extra layers of burden on him. There is always an insult throwing at him. They're making mockery videos and parody videos and memes, very mean memes, picture of memes of him. So I mean, he's not really safe from Ethiopians. Forget about the racism he faced, even from Ethiopians being thousands of kilometers away. You are not, and forgot about I mean, don't even mention the fact that you have to cut all ties with your family members and all that layers of problems. So it's people always say it's no gay issues. There is no gay issue, there is no per se gay issue.
Just to add, just to piggyback on what Gobazlich said, to just give you a practical example is like when I told you how I came to Austria, I mentioned state of emergency, right? So when the state of emergency happens, people saw as an opportunity and they did attack. The police took an advantage of that, and such kind of realities gives a blank check for people to do what they want, whatever they want. And then in all of in this stable environment of Ethiopia, we want to be eliminated. And then imagine when things are worse also, we are still at the bottom of the risk chain. So yeah. Yeah. Why not? Because it's it's inevitable. Changes is always inevitable, because it's as long as we continue to speak up, as long as we continue to stand, Ethiopia is already changing. Because when we start for instance, for me and for my collectives to start working on our activism work, there was a work that has been done before us. We stand on the shoulder of peoples who were being vocal in their own way. When we're doing all this activism work and all this visibility works, we're laying a ground for a change. And, since me personally starting from 2010 and collectively since 2013, I have seen so many change people's attitude. I have so many friends who used to be flat out phobic, and now a friend and changed and an ally that really advocates for a change. Change is very slow. It happens in a very rigorous and slow manner, but it's always going, because as long as we can stand up for our rights, Ethiopia is already changed. You know, when we talk about all this sadness and all these discriminations and things, that's the reality. There are peoples and there are group of and organizations that really working for the sanctity of queer lives or for the sanctity of human life, and they don't do any discriminations because we're so yeah. Change is always going to come. That's what also, like, you know, what they are afraid of. So
is walking in Vienna and recording this video is also a great change, a great milestone. You know, that for example, when I was like when there was a movement to create an online community for the gay community, there was no one, literally like no one who's out, you know, like you cannot like even find a single person. Now there are so many people, you know. That's a huge change, and I think that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid, they know their time is up. I think right now there are a lot of activities inside and outside Ethiopia. So the people who are inside Ethiopia are much more focused on immediate concern of the community, like for example health wise and other issues, and there is no space for work outside that platform as well. Of course, I can see the danger working outside that platform, and the people outside who are much more in quote unquote safer environment could be able to do with activism, loud act that challenge the present narrative. So,
for me it's like, you know, in a very term short term goal or mission is I, like, you know, together with my fellow activists and advocates, we want to force the Ethiopian government to have an inclusive health system. The Ethiopian government to include, for instance, on its 2030 HIV/AIDS eradication plan, to include queerness into that. So for the coming 5 years, by the end of this 5 years, which is like, you know, by the end of 2025, we are working to have a health system that inclusive to LGBTI Ethiopians, where they can go and access health service. And when I say health service, I meant both physical and mental. So, and also at the same time, we're gonna continue to be seen as like, you know, as a dignified human, who we are, and like, you know, the generations that is coming behind us to see themselves in a dignified. Doesn't matter how they identify, how their sexual orientation is, how their gender identities and expressions is. Just because they're human, just because they're Ethiopian, they need to see themselves in a dignified, and that's the mission. While we're also doing that, at the same time, so we're going to focus inward, see each other and build each other, tell each other who we are is valid, and how we live in this world, no matter where, we can be in Ethiopia or outside of Ethiopia, how we live is valid. First and foremost, thank you for reaching out to talk to us. It was really lovely. And then to your followers and Torians, we Ethiopians have a close relationship. And I know also queerness is not an easy topic in Korea as well. I wanted to say to South Korean queer peoples, who you are is valid. And this is a message from Ethiopian queer person. I see you, I love you, I value. And to other South Koreans who identifies as heterosexuals, love yourselves and others, and let people live.
History is always seems impossible looking at from the present. When you look at it after you passed it, that you see that anything is possible. Be it you are in Korea or in Ethiopia or anywhere in the world, you hear that you don't matter. If you feel that sense of pressure of the present, that the sense of you cannot shake it off, I just want to say that will not be the same. Things are always changing and not the same, and history is cool with that. Not very long ago that in Britain that you were executed for being gay. Yeah, things will change and things will get better. I know this is going to sound cheesy, but things will get better. And hold on, wherever you are, be it in Korea or in Ethiopia.
Yes, thank you.